Well, folks, today was an exciting day in MJ land as Biden makes history, signing landmark MJ research bill into law. Exciting day, like I said, the talk of the town today was MJ stocks. MJ stocks obviously responded well to this news today. Also hopes that we could see safe banking progress into the lame duck session here into the end of the year. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today is Friday. It's December 2nd. Hope you're doing awesome out there today and happy Friday. Stopped by Canna I picked up some XMGs and some House of Terpenes to celebrate. So cheers to those of you that are tuning in. Diving into today's content, going to try to keep this one as short as possible. I do have a lot of information I want to go over, but there seems to be no shortage of positive MJ news lately when we're finally starting to see prices take off to the upside as a result, which is great to see. Smash the like if you're excited about that. But before we get to it, I'm also going to do some technical analysis at the end. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the charts in the weeks and months ahead. But before we get to that, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe and tick the bell to be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As I mentioned, there seems to be no shortage of positive MJ news recently with regards to the US with reform and legalization progress in the US. And we know that a lot of other things in Congress there was a lot of other things taking precedence, right? We know that the C19 event was really taking the focus off of MJ, and we know that the Democrats and Biden have really failed on their campaign promise, which is, reform with regards to MJ. So we're finally starting to see the spotlight shine on MJ, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. But as I mentioned, Biden makes history today by signing landmark MJ research bill into law, and this is the article from MJ Biz Daily. I'm not going to go through this entire article just out of effort of time. I encourage you to check it out on your own time, though. I did go over it, and I'll just go over the main points, right? So obviously, a lot of people are asking me, well, what exactly does this mean for the MJ industry now and into the end of the year and in the next months, 6 to 12 months ahead? Well, this is a monumental step, as they mentioned, and as I've mentioned, we need to get research. This is the first form of legislation that has been signed into law with regards to MJ in this lame duck session. We know that there's potential for safe banking as well to get passed in this lame duck session, and there was some news that came out today that it could be potentially in a bigger package, right? So Safe Plus, but it might not get passed as a standalone. There's another package as well that they're going to be having a meeting on Monday, so we could see some movement on this into next week as early as Monday. And we have, like I said, more reform on the table. So obviously MJ stocks reacted very well to this. They reacted well to the pardons for minor offenses as well that Biden announced. So we're starting to see more and more progress on this front. But in regards to what this means for the MJ industry, it's the first step, right? We need Congress and the US to start putting together, these different organizations to research the industry and the plant to, check all the medical benefits and the harmful effects of it, right? We know that Canada, the neighbors to the north, we're 4 years into legalization, so they do have somewhat of a blueprint, right? They can follow our lead, and if we look at Germany, they're kind of following Canada's lead as well. We know that Germany could come online for recreational late 2023, and New York as well. So we're starting to see not just the U.S., but everybody starting to follow Canada's lead, right? And we know that even international markets like Thailand and Israel are really starting to make leaps and bounds, right? And this is the first step. We need to get MJ rescheduled, right? And this research bill is going to help put those wheels in motion, right? So if we can get research behind the plant, the industry, all the benefits and the harmful effects, then we can draft legislation and laws that can promote the industry, but not hinder it, but also keep everybody safe, keep businesses safe, consumers safe, and then ultimately create a framework that can make the industry thrive. Whether it's going to be similar to alcohol or tobacco, that remains to be seen. There's been some talk in all of these articles. You can see here, Senator files bill to get country ready for federal MJ legalization amid heightened reform talks. Department of Justice has concern about MJ banking bill, newly surfaced memo reveals, but sources say they've been resolved. And like I said, no shortage of positive MJ articles at the moment, and Biden's health secretary gives update on MJ scheduling review directed by the president. So as I mentioned, Biden has called for a review of the scheduling of MJ, and this new research bill is just icing on the cake because we're going to start to see more information come forth. That's going to, in my opinion, be that first monumental step in order to get it rescheduled. And then once we get it rescheduled, we know Apple and Amazon are backing legalization this time around. So yes, we've been disappointed in the past. We know that, safe banking has got passed several times in the House, but dead on arrival in the Senate. The difference is this time is Apple and Amazon are backing it. And when you get these big conglomerates, these trillion-dollar corporations and, top 500, big S&P 500 companies, right? Top 500 companies in the world, billions of dollars, trillions of dollar companies, then you start to see the needle move, right? Because those are the ones that are going to be lobbying the government. There's also Normal, which I've done an interview with the political director, Morgan Fox, right? They're a nonprofit that lobbies the U.S. government with regards to MJ legalization and reform, right? So all of these companies, they're not going to touch it unless it's rescheduled, right? They're not going to touch. They've got stakeholders. They got, they have shareholders that they need to adhere to. They're not going to put their hands or even come close with a 10-foot pole to a plant or a drug or a substance that is on Schedule 1. So right now, MJ still lands on Schedule 1, the same as heroin. So we need that first monumental step, which is the research bill. Then, we're going to get hands and legs on the ground, and we're going to go take a look at what the benefits are, the medical benefits, the harmful effects, and then not only that, you can like money laundering, all those things, right? So that people aren't, selling other, more, whether it be fentanyl or heroin, right? They could be potentially doing that on the side, and there needs to be all of these potential things that need to be considered, right? And framework that there's a lot that goes into it. But this is the first step to getting it rescheduled. Then once it gets rescheduled, we're going to start to see a mass influx of CPGs and Fortune 500 companies. We're going to start to see big conglomerates enter the space like Amazon. You could potentially see delivery. Uber has expressed delivery and started delivery in certain geographic locations, right? So we're going to see these big, companies that are ingrained in our economy get into the space, right? And this is a new burgeoning industry. And like I said, once we get it rescheduled, then they're going to start to feel more comfortable getting into the space. And then into the lame duck session, like I said, there's been in all of these articles, again, I'm not going to go through it in effort of time. They were quite lengthy, but they mentioned that on Monday, this could potentially get passed in a wider bill. So we could potentially see as early as Monday next week, we could potentially find out whether or not this is the Safe Banking Act, whether it gets passed, as Safe Plus on a standalone initiative, which a lot of people are skeptical, and myself included, but it could get potentially passed as part of a larger bill. So there's a meeting on Monday, so expect some potential, volatility potentially to the upside. We're going to be watching the S&P 500 as well. We know that we haven't consolidated in about a month on the S&P 500, so we know we're likely due for some healthy pullback in terms of the broader market, but that doesn't mean that MJ can't flourish and go against the grain, because right now MJ's been beaten down the most, and realistically, this could be the best asset class going forward in the next couple of years ahead, in my opinion. But like I said, we're starting to see no shortage of MJ news articles come out, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. But like I said, we could potentially see safe banking get passed into the end of the year in this lame duck session. We know that the Republicans have gained control of the House. So at the end of this lame duck session, we're going to see Republicans take control, right? So as of right now, that hasn't happened, and that's why they call it a lame duck session. It's that period before that transfer of power into a new party, right? Before they come in and they come in and take control, similar to what's happened in the past with the Democrats taking control of the Senate, right? And we know that in this lame duck session, safe banking is going to be the main focus. So first, we need research, then we need rescheduling. But at the same time we get rescheduling, it only makes sense that we get safe banking, because we need these businesses. Right now they're operating as cash businesses essentially, which is very dangerous to the employees and the people working in the store. Not only that, you can't use traditional credit cards to purchase when you go to the States, right? And this would just further legitimize the industry. And it would also help with rescheduling and safe banking. That would also help get uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. And we know that Curaleaf CEO mentioned the benefits of uplisting. So we're starting to see more talks regarding uplisting. So the writing is on the wall here at the moment, and we're starting to see stuff that we haven't seen before. I know a lot of people were disappointed in the past, and they go over that in some of the senators that mentioned that in some of these articles said, they're hopeful and they're optimistic, but they were disappointed in the past, right? But we're starting to see more and more stars align that we could potentially see movement on that front. And like I said, once we get safe banking, once the Wall Street banks can get involved, right? We know that Tilray had like $2.5 billion traded in one day. And for comparison, Trulieve only had about 15 million, right? So once we get uplisted, Trulieve, Green Thumb, all these major companies in the US, once we can uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, that's going to be when the floodgates open up, and the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, these big Wall Street banks, they're going to start playing in the space. And that's when we're going to see prices go to prices that we've never seen before, in price discovery, new all-time highs, blue sky breakouts, right? And price discovery. So this is all part of the plan, in my opinion. They need to get research. They need to work on rescheduling. At the same time they're rescheduling, they're likely going to pass safe banking, in my opinion, so that once it does get rescheduled, then the big companies are going to start to enter the space. But by then, the financial, the Wall Street banks and hedge funds and everything will all be positioned, and we'll be uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. And then after these companies uplist, that's what's going to open up the floodgates to retail. So right now in the US, a lot of US citizens can't trade OTC, right? So they don't have access to that, or they're on Robinhood and they're only seeing names that are on the NYSE and the NASDAQ, like, the Cannabis or the Tilrays of the world, right? And that's just what they flock to. But pretty soon after uplisting, but we know that the banks are going to have to be positioned first. And then we're more than likely going to see full-blown federal legalization, after that, right? So it could be a couple of years from now, could be a year from now, could be 2, could be 5. We just don't know. But I did do a video on Green Thumb. Speaking of Green Thumb, back on August 18th, I said weekly uptrend confirmed. The monthly bounce was confirmed as well, and it was underway. I said, are we targeting $20 on August 18th? Well, taking a look at GTII, here on August 18th, we closed that day. We closed the day at 14.19. The low of the day was 13.59. And here we are today hitting 21.03. So target confirmed. That is the benefit of knowing what a weekly uptrend is, weekly downtrend, or just uptrends and downtrends in general. You can see here we had the low, high, higher low, and higher high. Higher low, we're still in a clear weekly uptrend, right? With these higher lows and higher high patterns. And right now we're breaking to a weekly higher high, having seen an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So this is picture perfect what we want to see in terms of support being established and trends being confirmed, uptrends being confirmed, monthly bounce getting underway. But now we need to confirm the monthly uptrend. So this bounce is all coming off the monthly low here. So once we do start to consolidate, once we lose the low of the previous candle, that's when monthly consolidation and the pullback begins, right? So right now, the low of last month at 1543 is going to be key support into monthly consolidation. If we lose 1543, we start monthly consolidation. We look for a higher low compared to the low there at 1009. If we can form that higher low and then get that higher high and then confirm the monthly uptrend, that, in my opinion, is when the bottom is going to be in, and we could potentially be sending prices to new all-time highs in price discovery, right? And again, this has happened many times before, but look at the amount of room we have. We could drop from here. We could drop almost 51% and still just be looking for a monthly higher low. So it's looking really good. Look at some of the percentage moves today: 33% for Ian, Acreage 23%, BAM 17%, GTII 7%. We've got CGC and Tilray up almost double digits as well on the day today. So pretty much the average was up about double digits, so about 10% on average across the board today. But obviously, we don't have crystal balls, but just taking a look at the technicals, it was showing that GTII could be targeting $20. We had a PalBot buy alert go off as well. We're looking extremely good in terms of the stochastic and the MACD on the weekly macros. We're well above the 10-week moving average, and I said I would be targeting that 200 weekly moving average there. We got the bear cross out of the way with the shorter term moving averages above the longer term coming down on the weekly. We had that bear cross, we got it out of the way, and then I said a lot of their names are probably going to start to trend back to their 200 weekly moving averages, and that was at 21.27, and look what we hit today, $21. So don't be surprised if we do bump our heads and we come back down and we form some consolidation. Like I said, we know we still need the monthly higher low to change the monthly trend, but we have a major bullish indicator flashing on GTII. This is one of the strongest charts in MJ right now, and a lot of our other names are starting to see it as well. If we take a look at Tilray, for example, one of the leaders in Canada, getting very close to its golden cross with the 50 coming up below the 200 and potentially seeing that golden cross, and then CGC also with its 50-day not too far away from its 200-day moving average. And again, I was just saying that based on the charts, we could be targeting those 200-day moving averages as well, right? And now that we have this major flashing, bullish flashing indicator on GTII. Look how close we are from seeing the 50 crossing through the 200-day moving average, that golden cross that we've been highly anticipating. And if that does happen, that increases the odds that we could see that amongst the rest of the sector, right? So if we see GTII, see that golden cross, we're likely going to see a lot more upside from here. And if you're wondering in terms of target, well, we do have the 100 weekly there at 27.05, and we also have the price action resistance there at 28.47. So that we could be targeting that level pretty quickly, right? We know that once momentum starts to shift and we've been beaten down for so long, the longer the base, the higher in space, we could see prices really start to take off in a hurry. And again, $27 to $28, I think, is my next target realistically for GTII. And if we see that golden cross, that increases the odds that we could see that across the rest of the US names and the neighbors in the north, Canadian names as well, not just that, retailers, ETFs, and CGC, monthly uptrend confirmed. So one of the leaders in the space as well. This was another clue. We had the low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're now in a monthly uptrend. The last time we were in a monthly uptrend was almost a couple of years ago. And look what happened. We went from low, high, higher low, and higher high. Price went from $9 all the way up to $56 the last time a monthly uptrend was confirmed. So now we're confirming a monthly uptrend. We have essentially no resistance on the price action on CGC all the way up to 15.96. So again, the more names that change their monthly trend, the better. Now Tilray needs to confirm its monthly trend. We broke the monthly downtrend with the break of the lower high, lower low pattern, but now we need the higher low and higher high, just like GTII. And the more names that start to do it, the more confident we are in each other individual name that hasn't done so in the sector, right? So this is looking really good. CGC also had the all-time high record monthly volume. So that is looking good. Volume usually precedes price, and we're coming out of that oversold territory with those lower wicks here on the monthly time frame. So again, if you don't know anything about technical analysis, plop this RSI, relative strength index, in here. Anything above 70 is considered overbought and probably not a good idea to buy and go long. Anything below 30 and below is considered oversold and generally a good time to start getting into the space or into an asset when you're looking for long-term entries, right? And you're looking bullish, anticipating higher prices. So it's looking really good. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And like I said, this increases the odds that a lot of names are going to confirm monthly uptrends, with CGC already having done so. And then we could see a lot of our names start to see golden crosses over the next few weeks and months as we see potential for rescheduling. We see potential for safe banking into the end of the year as well, and then ultimately uplisting to the NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ. So again, very exciting times. Once again, cheers to everybody at home. I'm drinking the Mango Pineapple XMG today. I actually had a price drop at Canna Cabana here in Edmonton. It was only $3.90 now for the XMG, which is 10 milligrams, right? And fantastic. The citrus is also down to $3.99. So it's exciting times. I'm just grateful to be going through it all. Personally, I'm not worried at all about the long-term staying power of MJ. MJ isn't going anywhere. This is medicine, and people are going to benefit not only from a health perspective, but financially. I think over the next 2 to 3, 5 years, we're going to see people's lives drastically changed for the better forever. We're going to see generational wealth created, and a lot of people that are just middle class are going to start to enter that place where they never thought possible, right? There's gonna be more millionaires made, in my opinion, through MJ. Maybe crypto has created as many millionaires, but I think big tech, obviously, with the rise of the internet and the .com. Then we had crypto. Now I think the next most burgeoning and emerging market that's going to create the most millionaires in the next few years and decade is going to be MJ, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited to help everybody on this journey do the same. And smash a like if you're excited, because it's exciting times. This is only going to happen once. They're only going to legalize it once. Like I said, this research bill is the first step to getting it rescheduled. Then we get safe banking. We get the Wall Street banks positioned. Then we get uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, a result of rescheduling. Then we get big conglomerates and Fortune 500 companies entering the space, as it's no longer considered a Schedule I drug. Their stakeholders and shareholders are going to be okay with that. And then we're going to start to see that stigma go away. And then we're going to see full-blown legalization, right? And more than likely going to see as close to as alcohol as we can get, right? I think MJ is going to be pretty close to alcohol, but keep in mind, alcohol is poison and not good for you, whereas MJ is medicine and has tons of medical benefits, right? So going to end it there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Again, very exciting times. Can't wait to see what the next few weeks and months and years have in store for us. But if you could smash the like, I would appreciate it. Share the video with anyone that might find value. I would also appreciate that. And we'll see you again on the next update. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care. Talk to you soon.